Hello everyone. Today I just want to have a quick video about the gaps in the flex layout, flexbox layout. Now, as you can see, I have two elements inside my flexbox, and both of them have the width of 50%. And I have a gap right here that is, let me actually set it to 10 pixels. So it looks like that it works out, but once I hover over it and I just put flags, as you can see, we have this overflow over here that is not good at all. and I want to show you how to fix that and how to fix that on the different layouts. First of all, I'll show you how to fix it here. So you just go over here for the width and you use calc thing that can calculate the width, and you put your 50% over here, and then you want to subtract that gap. And what obviously comes to mind is that you get to subtract 10 pixels, and that will solve the issue. But right now here, as you can see, we have this little gap that shows that we do not really fill the whole container. So how do we fix that? Now remember that when I put something in this class, it applies to all the children of the parent flex. And what basically happens is this. Let me go over here and I'll just turn on my camera on my phone so that you can see. Okay, cool. Actually, I want to have a new one. Let me just erase this one and show you this. Now, remember that we have our flags on 70 EM. Let's actually put it on 1000 pixels. That will be easier. So now we have it on 1000 pixels. What I want to do, I just want to draw 1000 pixels, and I want to show to you two items, right? The first item and the second item. Now, 50% of 1000 pixels would be 500, right? And then the different part also would be 500. Now, when I subtract 10 from both of them, that would result 490, right? Now, 490 plus 490 would be 980. And as you remember, our gap here is 10 pixels. So 980 plus 10 pixels would result 990, and that is 10 pixels aren't filled yet. So when I go back here and I look on the flex layout, you may see that we have this little gap at the end, and this gap is basically these 10 pixels. I know it doesn't look like 10 pixels, but it is what it is. So in order to solve this issue, we just have to go here and we have to divide 10 pixels on 2. And now, as you can see, everything is filled. So what basically happens is this. When I say that instead of 10 pixels, that would be 10 over 2, which is 5, it happens that now our items inside our flex are 495. And in order to prove that, I'll just go over here, compute it, and as you can see, it's 495 right here, okay? Now let's go back and take a look at it again. So when I have 495 for each of the items, okay, this item and this item, what happens is that we sum them up and we get from them 990. And 990 plus 10 results the full width of 1000. That is the gap, and these are the two elements that are inside our flex. And this is how we solve that. It is pretty easy, and I would say it is just like math of the 5th grade. But now, what about this? What if I want to add one more item? So now things start to get a little bit more complicated. In order to solve this problem, first of all, we have to realize how many times, so how do we split 100% for the 3 items? That would be just 100% of the 3, right? And that would be simply 33%, correct? And that's pretty much it. So if we will sum 33.3 three times, that would result about 100. Of course, it won't be ever close enough to 1000, to 100%, but it will be pretty close, and that's exactly what we need. Now we have to calculate the gap that we have. Remember that we have gap of 10 pixels, right? Now, in this case, we have already two gaps, because what gap basically does is that it separates the elements. So instead of 10 pixels, now we have 20 pixels. So 10 here, and we have 10 here. Now, how do we solve this problem? Let's go over here. Just take the marker off. Okay, take a look on this. We have, again, 1000 pixels width, and we have three elements now. 1, 2, 3. And these three elements, we have two gaps. One gap would be here, second gap would be here, and both of them are 10 pixels. And our width of each of them would be 333, since 33.3% is about this equivalent in pixels. So I would put just 33 pixels for each of them. Let's put it this way. And when we'll sum them up, that will be 999. That is almost 1000. We won't be ever close enough. You just got to realize that. Now we have 20 pixels gap. And how do we solve this issue? Because like if we will, take 10 from each of them, that will result a 30 pixels loss overall. And when we will sum them up, what we can basically do is sum 333 plus 333 plus 333. That would be 999, and then 999 minus 30. That would result to us 969. And when we sum up these 20, that would result to us that would result to us 989, which is not close enough. We're in less than 10 because we have three elements. Now, in order to solve this issue, we just got to realize, how do we split 20 for three of them? And simply enough, it's just 20 over 3. So for each of them, we'll say 20 over 3, 20 over 3, and that will make sure that each of them gets the third part of 20. And when each item will get that, that will be that the first item got 20 over 3, the second item get 20 over 3, and the third item get 20 over 3, which means that we basically split it 20 on 3 for each of them, and that fills this gap. Now let's go to our developer tool, and let's go over here. And basically, if you don't know how to open this developer tool, you just click the right click here and you just press inspect, and that will open this up. So we go over here now, and we say again, calculate, okay, and then we'll wanna, so let's first subtract 10 from them so that you will see what this 10 pixels, as you can see, we have still this gap of like 11 pixels over here, right? Though it doesn't look like 11, and the reason for that is that our gap remains as it is, but percentages takes over, and that's why it looks so small. Yeah, but it is basically about it. I know it might seem weird. So what you want to do, you want to make sure that there is two gaps right here and right here. So two gaps would be 20 pixels and not 10 anymore. And now you want to split this 20 for 3. And you split it over 3, and as you can see, it fills out it perfectly, just perfectly, okay? Now, you would say, like, I can't, write it for each one of them because it will take for me forever. And what you can do basically is set a variable. So I have this variable over here, grid masonry dash gap, and I can say it will equal to 10 pixels. Now I want to copy this variable and I want to put it inside the gap. So I will say var whatever, and 10 pixels are here. And now I'll go over here And first, remember that 33.3% is the third part of 100%. So in calculator, we can calculate it. So we will say 100% over 3. And make sure you take it into the parentheses because it's important, you know. Yeah, so it will be more precise, let's say. Let's put it this way. And then we want to subtract this thing, but what we do instead is that we say, now I want to use my variable, okay, and I will just paste it in here, and it works out almost perfectly fine. The only last thing left is to multiply it by 2 because we have 2 gaps. So what we do, we just multiply this variable by 2, we take it into the brackets again, parentheses, and we get the perfect answer, as you can see. Now, we will work the same way with all of them. And just for the sake of this video, I'll just show to you how to make one more. So I'll just copy this and paste it in here. As you can see, we have one overflowed because we did not change anything here. So the strategy would be the same. We would take 100%, we split it for 4 of them. So that would be just 25%. We can just split it by 4. It will calculate it automatically. And now we have 3 gaps. The only thing we have to do is basically calculate what is the size of the gap, which is 10 pixels, and multiply it by how many gaps. We have 3 gaps, 10 pixels multiplied by 3 would be 30 pixels overall. So 30 pixels overall are taken, therefore we want to multiply it by 3, and remember for how many parts we should distribute them, and we should distribute them for 1, 2, 3, 4, therefore we want to divide 30 pixels, meaning 3 gaps, on 4 items, so that 4 items would equally fill them. And we just put here 4. As you can see, here is still little inaccuracy, and once we put 4, it's exactly what it is. Should I make the last one? Like, let's put 6, just at last. Let's put 6. Yeah, it's very much overflown. And what we do again, we take a look how many items we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We want to separate 100% for 6 items. So we did that right now. And by the way, I did it incorrectly. Yep, because I put it inside here. Okay, just like that. Because when I copied it and pasted it into the child, but I should have clicked on the parent and pasted in the parent. Okay, let's go back. Now, we separated 100% for 6 items. That's exactly what we did. And now I want to subtract the gap space. And the gap space here would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically what we want to do is to multiply 10 pixels by 5. That is overall space that is taken by the gap. And that would be 50 pixels. And the last thing left is to distribute this 50 pixels for each one of them. That would be 50 pixels over 6 for each item. And we would divide it over 6, and we get the perfectly correct result and answer. So in such a way, you can work, and you can also take the marker or pen or pencil and try to solve it yourself until you will get the point of the whole thing. Hopefully you get that. And yep, this is pretty much about it. I hope this video was helpful, and probably the last thing left is to mention that your gap will be always one unit less than the amount of elements. So if you have 6, that would be 6 minus 1, 5 gaps, okay? Because like your gap, it doesn't go after the last element, so you just can subtract the last element kinda and get the amount of gaps you will actually have. Yep, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I wanted to tell you. Hopefully this video was helpful, and have a good day.